Tabe has just released Arc 8 Chapter 1, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. Highly recommend you go check out the recently uploaded Arc 8 Chapter 58 to 75 summary, which I released a few hours ago if you're not caught up. Anyways, let's begin with Arc 9 Chapter 1. The hours passed by quietly. "My star," Yugard says. Yona looks up at the man beside her. He spoke with no emotions, but you can tell there was affection in his words. An ordinary voice, but this time, despite calling her names many times, this time it was special. It was a call to end this miraculous time. Trying to not sound weak, Yona gives her affirmation. Yugard says this time he will go before her. Yugard's eyes shined tenderly. He had a grim expression normally, however around Yona this was not the case. Yugard tells Yona that he has been a very happy man. He met her, then walked with her, been blessed by her, then made mistakes and was separated. But he had the opportunity to correct the mistakes as they met once more. The law of wrongs that triggered tragedies, started by the hatred of Yugard in their ancient age, burned themselves at the loss of Iris. However, Yugard's descendant, the wise emperor, promised to abolish it. Yona wanted to lift the curse that surrounds her life. Due to the mole people and the wolf people being slaughtered, of course, which bounds her to the curse. "It's the same for you, my star," Yugard says. Yugard says regardless of age, time or form, Yona works hard to maintain bonds. Yugard wished for the best and hopes that Yona can do everything well. Yona says she will use the rest of her life to prove it, before kissing Yugard on the lips. These two, from a different age, reunited in a way that wasn't meant to happen. Yugard says, "I love you," and Yona says, "So do I, forever and ever." They kiss again, and then smiled at each other for the final time. This was the true end of the story of Iris and the King of Thorns, a story that began in olden times and continued to postpone its end to the current time. The scene changed. One night after the end of the Great Disaster, the threat of the undead were repelled by the unity of subjects in the Empire. The leader of the group was Vincent Vollachia. Using the Yang Sword, the Sword Wolf of Vollachia showcased the pinnacle of power. All of the cities were affected. It would leave a scar, but the momentum of victory was on Vollachia's side. However, there was many things which had to be decided on. There was no time to sleep, and a lot of work to be done. Of all the reports, there was the news of a death of a young woman who greatly contributed to the victory of the Empire. She charmed many with her flaming way of life. Hearing this news, in a room in the city of Gargla, a room now used as a temporary headquarters, Vincent fell silent. He said a few words. "I see." That was all he said. The scene changes. The battle against the Great Disaster came to an end. People now moved on with their lives. Petra was overwhelmed by the sight of these people. Petra says that she doesn't like the Empire. One of the reasons is because the Empire took away the one she loves, Subaru. Removing those assumptions, Vollachia is more likable than other countries. But Petra and her friends still helped Vollachia. She was happy that Vollachia was saved. She called out to Subaru. Petra cares about Subaru. However, currently his heart was scarred. Priscilla Barriel. That is the name of the woman who gave a deep and painful wound to Subaru's heart. Petra had never exchanged words with her. Whilst they were in the same area sometimes in the royal capital, Petra never really approached or talked to her, because she was a royal candidate. Petra did not want to get comfortable with the opponents. And so Petra regrets. As she didn't speak to her, she had no reason to regret what happened. She isn't like Subaru or Emilia, who are currently hurt from her loss. Petra was frustrated. Dicker Ottoman called out to Petra. Dicker was an important general who treated Petra like a normal person despite his high rank. Dicker will be used after the war because of his really good work ethic. However, it was very strange to see Dicker Ottoman alone. We can see that the reason why he's alone is because he had to survey the area on his own. He wanted to see it, the damage with his own eyes. Petra thanks him for his work, but Dicker says that Goz and Kathma did more. Petra, however, doesn't really see the point in comparing oneself to others when it comes to work. However, Petra reflects on this. She in the past did compare Subaru's work ethic compared to a certain steely-eyed emperor. Petra wonders why Dicker has to fly around Vollachia. Dicker explains that despite the situation, generals like himself have to maintain order and give morale to the soldiers. In this situation, people will take advantage of it. After all, once a great disaster is gone, then the perspective changes, back from the idea of the nation to the view of the individual. They take what they lack, steal, and in some cases use force. We see that Goz and Kathma are helping out, with Kathma being promoted to the rank of Divine General. Dicker explains that the Divine General slots are open as they lost a few in the Great Disaster, so it's seen as a good thing that the positions are being filled. That's the reason why Kathma accepted the post when he previously declined it in the past. Petra asks Dicker if he has any stories about himself. After all, he also did great in the war. He was the person that was bridging the different groups together and overseeing the battlefield in the command center. It's a humble but vital function. Dicker thanks Petra for her praise. Dicker says that his reward was accompanying the emperor and asks Petra if she would find a reward to be accompanying someone. In Petra's mind, she thought about Subaru. Dicker says someone desirable will laugh at the results of your achievements. Isn't that enough to make you feel rewarded? And Petra says yes. So essentially, for Dicker Ottoman, just by being around Vincent and being relied on is his reward. So of course Subaru would be like the reward for Petra in her mind. A voice cuts out. Selena. She says a man of Dicker's stature shouldn't be selfless. The Emperor gives rewards and punishments based on your performance. If Dicker doesn't accept rewards for his work, then the soldiers won't be able to speak up, and they won't be taking any rewards if they do good on the battlefield. Essentially what this means is, say if you're part of Dicker's squadron, right? And Dicker does good in the war. If Dicker is selfless and he doesn't ask the Emperor for a reward, then the soldiers in Dicker's battalion will also essentially do what Dicker does. Because they'll be like, if Dicker's not going to get a reward, why am I going to get a reward myself? So Selena's saying you shouldn't do that. You should actually claim your reward so your soldiers can also be rewarded when they do good on the battlefield. We see that Roswell is also present. Roswell stares at Petra, and Petra asks, what is it? Roswell says that he is concerned, ensuring that she isn't working too hard, and asking where Frederica is. Petra says that Frederica is sleeping after overworking. Apparently Frederica did a lot of work in the same squadron as Petra, and not only that, she was a messenger on the battlefield. We see that she rested due to Ram and Garfiel's insistence. Petra laments in the fact that she couldn't make Frederica rest on her own. Roswell then asks if Petra is okay, and Petra says the Yang magic is working. Petra practices Yang magic and is taught it by Roswell. Her magic gives energy and power. However, of course, like all things, there are a limit. Petra says she's trying to push herself before her limit with Yang magic, asking if she should stop. Roswell says no, saying that there may be a time when it's necessary, so it's best to do what she wants to do. Selena and Dicker comment on Roswell and Petra's master and servant relationship. Petra avoided Roswell, but she swallowed and looked up to Roswell. She asked Roswell what he plans to do with Subaru. Roswell doesn't answer, and then Petra pleads. Roswell closes one eye and looks at Petra. The relationship between Subaru and Roswell was unnatural, and it left an impression on Petra. Subaru, Emilia and Frederica are the sort of people that would forgive Roswell. Garfiel and Beatrice are angry at Roswell, and Otto and Petra do not forgive him. Petra and Otto was always tense with Roswell. Of course, they did not make waves. The tension was like nuts roasting in a flame. Despite the roasting, the nuts never change colour, and that's one of the reasons why Petra doesn't like Roswell. However, the heat that Petra and Otto reserve for Roswell is fundamentally different from the heat between Subaru and Roswell. Petra hates to admit it, but she knows that Subaru and Roswell have a secret that caused this different type of tension, and what that secret will bring will make Subaru unhappy. Roswell repeats Petra's question, then asks Petra what he should do. Petra thinks he is making fun of her, but Roswell says he's unsure. Roswell then generates a red light with his right hand and a blue light with his left hand, and asks whether red or blue will be better for Petra. Petra then says if he causes harm to Subaru, she will never forgive him. Of course, this is something Roswell doesn't care about. However, Petra says that she will make him regret it. Petra says she will do everything in her power to make him regret it. Roswell says that's troubling, and that she is more loved. A strange power that Roswell resists and have never tried to beat. Petra doesn't really understand what Roswell is rambling about. Petra says that she wishes Emilia and Subaru would smile. She puts her hand to her chest, and it's almost like she is praying, as if a cloud could protect her loved ones from bad things. Selena and Dicker watch, saying that the people of Kingdom of Lagunica are bizarre and complex, just the way I like him, Selena says. Dicker, seeing this, says that it isn't in good taste, and with that, the chapter ends. Ooh, so first chapter again is a transitional chapter. Pretty good first chapter. Petra sussing out that Subaru and Roswell have a secret, which is of course, if Subaru lets anyone die, Roswell will just absolutely blitz everyone else. I'm assuming they're gonna go back to Lagunica at some point. I'm hoping it doesn't take too long. We also need to see Subaru's true form with the Pleiades Squadron, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm shocked that Vincent didn't really say anything after Priscilla's death, but it is what it is. Anyways, let me know what you thought of Arc 8. I do think it got way better near the end, but let me know what you think.